Once we've got that, we can jump into the how, which is usually where most people actually start.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got the overall structure. We've got some bigger picture stuff. We've got our 10-year mission, which is getting a bit more specific about what we're doing. Then we've got some 3-year description about where we'd like to be in 3 years with some numbers in there, some KPIs and a few measurables, beginning to get a clearer picture of where we would like to be, that 3-year horizon. Then we start looking at the 12-month. We set a 12-month goal. It's kind of that line of sight that we can see towards the end of the year. And working in a financial year is a great way of going, but wherever you're at in the year, just start. And so then we break it down into how. So we always use a 90-day cycle, and this is what works really, really well in the trades and contracting space, because it gives us an agility and an ability to pivot if we need to when things come up, like they did last year with COVID. It enables us to really head down, tail up, and focus. So we reverse engineer our 12-month goal. So we'll look back and go, what are the key milestones we need to reach over those 12 months to be able to get there? So then we cast our mind to the quarter that's in front of us at 90 days, and you'll list 3, maximum of 5 projects that you're going to work on to get you there within that 90 days. So I would probably say for the majority of listeners out there today, 1 or 2 or 3 projects would be the maximum I'd get you to put on there. And a project is a bundle of tasks. It's a bundle of things. So it might be around lead generation or marketing. And within that, there'll be a number of steps that you will write to generate leads that might be around, understand my target audience, write my ad, posters, those sorts of things around that. So that's how we write our 90-day plans.
And we refer to the 90-day plans as rocks. So there was an old analogy. It was a professor at Harvard or something, had a glass jar, and he filled the glass jar with rocks. And he said to the students, is this glass jar full? And they said, well, yes, it is full. And he said, okay. And he got a handful of pebbles out and he sprinkled pebbles into the jar and rattled it in between the big rocks. He said, is it full now? And they said, well, yes, it is now. And then he got some sand out and he sprinkled sand through the jar and says, is it full now? And they said, yeah, absolutely is full. And then he got a beer out and he filled the jar with beer. And he's like, now the jar's full. And often the students ask, they say, well, what's the beer for? And he said, the beer's to ensure and to remind you that you always have time for friends and family and mates. He's like, but the rocks are the things that are most important to you. And so you always start with your rocks. Yeah. And business is the same, like we've got this why frame around why is it important? Because that stuff doesn't really tend to change. You do your work, you get it right. And the first 3 chapters of my book are dedicated to the why frame because they're the most important in building a business that can work without you. But then after that, the what is basically your goals. Like, what are those clear targets? Like, what are the tangible things we're going for, which allow us to measure on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, 3-yearly basis to let us know that we're moving towards our why. But what we spoke about now, the how is the rocks. What are the 1 or 2 projects that are pushed? Like when we look at our goals, we might be smashing revenue and winning heaps of work, but we're finding that we can't keep up with demand. So we might have a rock around creating a really good hiring process. We might find that we are overstaffed and we haven't got enough work, or we're attracting really shitty clients who don't pay on time. So one of our rocks might be to develop a really good lead generation system. And as you put it, Miranda, that's our rock. But then there's a ton of steps under that. It's like we've got to do research around who's our niche. Who are we going after? What are we actually doing? Are we going to run ads on Facebook or on Google? There's a series of steps, which is why we try to keep those rocks to 1 to 3. Even if you've got a larger team, you're better to do those things to completion at 100% than do them half-assed and not get the results. And the last thing I'll put is within the how, we want to have an accountability. So within each of those rocks you put down, there needs to be somebody, one person in your organization. And if it's just you're a sole trader, 1 rock is all you need because you're accountable for that. If you have a few team members, you have them accountable for them. Now, that doesn't mean that they have to be responsible for completing every single task, but they are accountable to make sure that job, that project gets across the line and gets completed. Again, it's something that can be a little bit challenging maybe to, visualize based on the conversation we have today. And what I guess we really wanted to get across is the importance of having a plan that's simplistic, that has those 3 elements. Even if you don't want to buy a copy of my book or join us in the Tradie Business School, just get an A4 bit of paper and divide it into three sections: why, what, how. What am I going after? Why am I going after it? What am I going after? And how am I going to get there? And start with that process and just find the difference it's going to make in your business to have some clarity and direction, the same way you give your clients when you show them a plan of the landscaping you're going to be doing, or the kitchen or the bathroom you're going to be renovating, or the house you're going to be building for them. It's the same damn thing.
So I love that. The A4 bit of paper, the simplest way to do that. The thing you've got to do though is look at it stick it on your forehead, stick it above your computer, put it somewhere that you're going to look at all of the time. Time and time again, it's, put in the drawer and goes dusty. Even 1 page, 40 pages, it doesn't matter. You have to look at it and follow it for it to work. The reason that it is so important to have a business plan, even if you begin with 12 months and 90 days and then work on the bigger picture stuff after that, to start with where do I want to be in 12 months and what's my first 90-day plan. If that's as far as that's the best at the moment, then I think what you're doing there is doing something that puts you way ahead of most other businesses. To do that alone is a powerful step. And then look at it every day and follow it. And this is the difference between keeping busy all day, running the hamster wheel of busy business, being reactionary, putting out fires, not wondering why you're not making feel like you're making progress. And following this will actually give you that sense of progress, completion, which is so fundamental to how we feel in every day. It feeds our motivation and it makes us all round happier people, I think. There we go.
Absolutely.